questions. What we choose to ignore becomes a thorn at the end of the day. And the things we keep allowing becomes a problem in the future. And what we say is not my problem, or like many people say, don't rock the boat. Eventually, that boat will come and hit wherever you are and destroy everything. Just like if you ignore, when you take a lighter or a matchbox and you throw it somewhere and you're not keen on where you threw it, that place will catch fire. Then something small has brought such a big issue, and now you have more victims. If you ignore corruption and take it lightly, it ends up becoming a problem. A case in point, Up Country, that should be 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks if I could recall. There was a little girl, I think should have been around 10 years. So Up Country, there's a well, not like the better type of well. It's just, so ideally how it works, so you have the riverbed, and then towards the riverbed, when it's dry, you have the sand. So what people do, they start digging within the sand to try and get water. So normally the community, Up Country, what they do is they'll try and instead like pull like a bucket down, they'll kick it. So as they're kicking it, they're able to still access the same place. So there was this little girl around 10 years, I believe, 10, 11. She did the thing she's been doing for the longest time, fetching water for her home. It's one of those things you just look at in life and stuff. And the little girl, as she was kicking the bucket downwards, there was a snake. And the more she was kicking downwards, so she could hit, the bucket was getting to where she wanted. The snake was throwing the fangs were on the little child's leg. I think twice, I think there were 2 or 3 strikes. The child noticed something was off. By the time they noticed, I think they had an older person or other kids. An alarm was raised. When the alarm was raised, the snake disappeared, and now the child was being rushed. Now in our country, sadly, to this very moment, we still have issues with things to do with what's it called? Snake poison. So what happens is, in our country, for example, if you have been bitten by a snake, when you go to the hospital, you'll be told to identify the snake that bit you, the type and everything. Even at my age, I still can't tell which snake is this, apart from knowing this is a rattlesnake and this is a cobra. But you have to be very specific. And I'm trying to look at the environment of country and where it was, and sadly the little girl didn't live for long. The venom had already got into her and she was gone. And later on, I saw there's a politician, I think from a different county, who tried to send someone to bring some money into the funeral. But it was taking more of a mockery, because people are like, you could have solved this issue. What's your man saying? It ended up into a fight, and yeah, it was a messy situation. This is just one example of what happens when corruption takes center stage. And this is one issue when hard questions are not asked. For example, if you deal with a politician, they say, I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You hold them accountable. First, you look at their track record. Who were they before they became politician? Let's say they worked in a particular area. What kind of character did they emulate? You look at the places they worked. You do your own little background. Because one thing many people always keep forgetting, people magnify or people amplify who they are once they get into power. If you deal with a corrupt person, when they get into power, they'll be 10 times corrupt. If you deal with someone who's known for execution, they get into power, they'll just continue what they've been doing. They have now more agencies they can work with, and so forth and so forth. Let's go to an issue like war. We see many countries are investing highly in the most sophisticated of the sophisticated of weapons. So let's say I take an example, I take a jet and add into it a missile. So you have to look at the components, the raw materials that build up the craft, the missile and everything. Then you have to look at the cost of the pilot, and then all the other things that entail whatever. But this billion or million dollar courage is going to be unleashed into a house, or sometimes it's unleashed into refugee camps. The logic never makes sense. The people who are refugees are there not by choice, by circumstance, but they're the ones getting the shelling. Or someone in their house who was with their child, next thing, child's gone. Or let's say you went to work, and then you hear a report, there's no house. And you're like, no way, my whole family is there. And these are the stories of many people, sadly, right now, whether we are talking about an ethnic war, what's about just countries going versus countries, and the whole mess keeps continuing. And so now the people have nowhere to go. Now, if the people of that country, of now wherever this country is attacking, never ask the right and the hard questions, why are you doing this? Why not defend just our country unless we are being provoked? And also, why not use the exact resources to be able to build our economy? For example, better schooling, better health, better this, better social welfare, all those stuff. But the more you keep doing that, the people become the victims. Now they have nowhere to go. They come into your country. Now it becomes a thorn, because now they're saying, I mean, unless your country is going to rebuild where they destroyed, and again, that will never happen. So now you're stuck. You're now stuck with multicultural diversity. And last I checked, it never really works. And even you look at history, any country that was ever superpower and profited from looting and everything, eventually they all fall. Why? Because the same people you destroyed will come into your system. Some will be born and others will get into power. But people never forget where they've been. They may stay 40 years, but the 41 years, someone remember what happened to their bloodline. They sit in places of power. What kinds of policies will they implement? I've never seen anything good that comes from destroying another person. You keep seeing it all over again. It never, because the strength you have in your 20s, destroying someone in your 50s, it will be a whole different ball game, because now you don't have the same strength and zeal you had destroying another person. Let's look at how much people have been so absorbed with AI, and all the products that come with it, because it is quite diversified. Whether it's chatbots, whether it's system-based. Now let's look at where we are globally. Everything is AI controlled to an extent at this point in time, whether it's military, whether it's finance, whether it's government services, whether it's businesses, whether it's even just a simple here and there household. What dangers comes with it? The type of information these different AI products receive, they take it to their server. Who owns the server? The people of these particular companies. Okay, so who run it? So you have investors, and every investor will want money worth whatever they want. Who are the investors? What's the character of these investors? They could be intelligence agencies, they could be business people, they could be drug lords. The list is endless. Okay, break it down further. Now they ask for a report. They want to know, we invest X amount of million into this, what type of report can I get? So they get. So they say, let me sell this particular product to ABCD company. They give like 2% of whatever report they've gotten, they sell to another company, they get. What happens one day when one company or one person decides, you know what, we call the shots, we can shut the whole system down, or give a kill switch command to one of those AI, whatever. What happens eventually is carnage everywhere, because banks are not functioning. All the systems that were so reliant on it are stuck, and there we are. I recall a situation, it has happened to me severally, with people, and we are going there now. I was able to drive before this accident. And I remember in one incident, we drove to a place, and I was like, can we just ask ordinary people? And these people are like, no, let's do Google Map and all. We ended up in someone's house. Thank God, it was by day, and we were confused. So, and by the way we were looking, we were very confused. So we ended up at the gate, and this person was driving behind us, the owner. By God, we were just lucky, because anything would have gone sideways. The thing I'm saying is, Learn to ask the hard questions. When you have this and that and this and whatever, what the why, ask the whys, because if you don't ask, whatever happens, you'll conform to it. Once you conform to it, you can't control it.